Let's just refer to it as well, betting as gaming.
Okay.
Yeah, we are better that way than to even create the misconception that they are not investors. They are just betting or they are in the game. It's just like lottery. You cannot call those who plays or go to lottery as investors. They are not.
Hello, everyone. You're welcome back to Inside Byte podcast. Today on our show, we are going to be discussing something that is very keen and sometimes it's yet overlooked. And on today's episode, we are basically discussing financial literacy. Now, we all know that money is quite elusive, especially in this economy. People tend to find it difficult to get money, trying to do lots of jobs and all, but sometimes it's still hard to come by. And so we want to find out, even with the little we are getting or whatever we are still not getting, how can we show up and be financial literate? So today we are going to be having a discussion with very professional people in the financial industry, and they are going to be telling us a lot about financial literacy. This is a good chance for you to pick up if you don't know much about financial literacy. So on today's show, I have with me Mr. Nash Entry, who is a seasoned banker and has 17 plus years experience in corporate, institutional, and retail banking. And thank you for coming to that show.
Thank you too.
Okay, we also have with us Dr. Benjamin Amwa, who is a senior lecturer at the Department of Finance at the University of Ghana. He's also the coordinator for the Financial Awareness Association in the University of Ghana. Welcome, Doc.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be on your platform.
Thank you. And then finally, we have with us Ms. Esther Makafui Abu, who is the Vice President of the Financial Awareness Association, the UG chapter. Welcome, Esther.
Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome. So to get right into it, I think we should start from the basics and let's just get to know, what do we mean by financial literacy? So Mr. Benjamin, what do we mean when we say financial literacy?
Thank you very much. And when we talk about financial literacy, we have 5 things in mind. The first thing you need to understand is awareness. Aware of your financial state. What is your current condition? Is it good or bad? That is awareness. The second one is about knowledge. The third thing we have is skills. We have attitude and then behavior. And all these components must be used by the individual to improve his financial well-being. So the skills we are talking about, things like how to understand compound interest, simple interest, and the effect of inflation on finances. The behavior is how do you respond to things when it comes to personal finance or financial management. Attitude, are you someone who just spends or always think about tomorrow? And then we talk about the knowledge is a stock of information that one has acquired when it comes to issues relating to personal finance. So these 5, according to the OECD, is what constitutes the major block to the knowledge set of financial literacy. So financial literacy basically refers to the awareness, the knowledge, the skill, the attitude, and behavior of individuals in issues relating to personal finance and how the individual will use these 5 things to improve his or her financial well-being. That is in gist what financial literacy is all about.
Okay, thank you very much. And to Mr. Nash, would you say banking clients in Ghana are financial literate, considering your experience in the industry? If so, why and what exactly makes you say that?
It's a very tough one. Most banking clients in the country, I say, are not financial literate, majority of them. Maybe 70% are not, 30% are. I say so because we see the attitude of most of our clients, and it's mostly spending and like very, very small savings. Most people save over a period of maybe a year, 2, 3 years, and the money goes away again. And the savings is more for immediate needs. It's difficult because
we live in a country where the minimum wage is quite low, and people's expenditures are quite higher than what they earn. So savings become very difficult. The few who do save, who are financially literate, are quite the people who are quite wealthy. Those who can put a little more aside for the future. So those people tend to invest more in bonds, shares, and save for their future. But majority, from what we see, no, they are not financial literate.
Okay. So coming to you, Esther, as a student, for us, money is like the last slice of pizza. Everybody is trying to get it. It's very difficult to get it. So would you say, from being a student, knowing your friends and others, do you think they are financial literate?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. From my observation, I believe someone who is financially literate, the person has more knowledge in financial literacy. But I think that most students I have known, they have a little bit of knowledge in financial literacy. They tend to spend unnecessarily, do overspending. They don't plan for their future. Just a few of them take time to learn, go online, get materials on financial literacy, and then practice it. That's what I've observed. Thank you.
Yeah, to add to what Mr. Nash and then Esther said, realize that Mr. Nash made a point that it's a rich and a wealthy who have taken the trouble to have some form of financial literacy education. Esther also spoke about the fact that students exhibit some level of financial literacy. Clearly, there's a problem. Why? Because in both instances, we are seeing that a greater proportion of our citizenry are not possessing this vital lifelong knowledge skill set that they need to have. And that should be a worry and a problem for all of us. How do we get each of us, our families, to financially literate so that it is not about how much you have, but it's just about making sure that what you have, you are able to manage it so you don't become a burden on the next person. Once we can have the knowledge skill set to do this, I think we are good to go. And one major route for us to overcome this challenge is to educate ourselves, and in this way, educate ourselves in matters relating to personal finance. And this financial literacy becomes very important, and all of us must embrace it. Thank you.
Okay, so just to follow up on what you said, right? For students, we are in school, so we tend to hear a lot about financial literacy in general, and why they tend to still use their money for impulse buying and other things. Is it related to just their personality, or is it because the little education they are getting on financial literacy is just not enough, or they are really getting it, but it's just a matter of personality? And do you think much publicity can actually improve the character that they have towards financial literacy?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. I believe most students, it's their perception and the way they feel they are independent now. They are on campus, so they can actually live freely and then do what they feel like doing. If they are at home, probably their parents would advise them to maybe apportion their money and know how to spend. But on campus, they feel they are on their own and they could spend anyhow. So I believe publicity actually could help. Most of the times, we go out there to do educate our friends, our peers on financial literacy. When you talk to them, you get to see that they actually want to acquire the knowledge. That is the practicing. Most of them don't know how to practice. So I believe if we educate them more using publicity, I think it would really help. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So to Mr. Nash, what do you think banks are doing now to actually help their clients or people in general to get to know about financial literacy?
Okay, I think this time we are doing better than before. We are organizing seminars, workshops, a lot more. We try to get into our customers' spaces to educate them more about it. What we realize is for people to need money, we work with money. That's our bloodline. So if people save more, more money for us to lend. So we're trying to encourage the savings culture. So we try to go to schools and all that to advise people to do it. Also, we try to teach people on how to manage their life pensions, like lifestyles. So we are encouraging people to have more pensions. Sorry, not pensions, sorry, insurance. Sorry. Okay. So what we realized was most people don't have things happen to people and they don't have any money to fall on. Then they tend to borrow from friends and family and all that. But if you have an insurance scheme somewhere, something happens to you, the insurance will take care of it. It could be a car insurance, it could be a home insurance, fire and all that. So we also advise people to go into the insurance bit. Most banks now have insurance desks within them, so banks are doing a little more there. Also, most banks now have the asset management side where we try to encourage people to start planning on wealth management, so that people who come and sit with you, look at your income, look at your expenditure, help you to manage your expenditure such that there'll be excess of your income that you can save for the future. So that's where we're heading towards now.
Okay, so in the aspect of educating them to save, I understand banks want more money, right? But then there's another key part of financial literacy, which is investing your money. At the end of the day, my savings goes to the bank, they invest, they get the profits. I don't really get much. So on the part of the bank, what are you doing to actually encourage investment for your clients so that they don't just have money sitting there as savings, but more money for them to invest?
Okay, so one thing about investment is you're looking at the interest rate. What am I getting out of me putting my money there? Okay, so currently the interest rates in Ghana is quite high. It's hovering around 16 to 23%. You can get treasury bills. That's for short term, that's a year. But that is, so there are two things. That is savings. Investment is more of long term, like 5 years, 10 years. Yes, looking at your future. And this one, so we are really advised that don't look at the interest rate. Look at what you gain after that years. Because if you're looking at the rate now, you might not do it because it might not look attractive now. But with the power of compounding interest over the years, it will be more. So even though if you look at savings, the rate is higher than the investment. The investment gives you a much better, how should I say it, reward at the long term than the savings. So we advise people to do more investment than savings. Yes.
Yeah, if I can come, what Mr. MP is trying to tell us that there's a difference between savings and investment. He is telling us that, look, always have some funds for emergency. And that is what we call savings. So that if you need to buy some medication, you need to do something now. You don't go and fall on your investment, because your investment has been set aside for a particular purpose. So you need point that 5 years, that is an investment. So you build it over the 5-10 years, so that you don't go in anytime you have a pushback for some money here and there. So each of us, we need to have an investment account or an investment, and then we need to have a savings account, so that anytime we need to buy fuel, we need to pay for school fees, you don't go and liquidate your investment account, rather fall on the savings account. If you can have that, it becomes easy for us to invest. If not, we are always going to disturb the bankers that I want to liquidate my investment, I want to do this and do that, and that is not going to help the individual who is seeking to build his financial wealth over time.
Okay, so that means we all agree that savings, good thing, and then investments are also good. However, with the investment in the bank, it takes a long time for it to grow and all that. But there's a quicker form of investment nowadays, which is betting. Okay. We call it online investments, right? Yeah. So would you consider people like that as financial literates?
Okay. So there is an underlying assumption we need to understand when it comes to betting. Betting is not a savings, it's not an investment. Betting is a game of chance. We call it gaming, where you are risking something of value, an outcome that is not certain. So I have 20 or 50 Ghana cedis. There's an event taking place, and that event is purely random. The outcome is purely random. And then you want to place your money on the outcome of that random event. That is very dangerous. Many individuals who go into betting do not understand the concept of randomness. They don't understand the concept of probabilities. So for them, they think that, they can just place their money on the event and they can get some good outcome. The question we need to ask ourselves is, how many of them have been able to win, considering how much they afford put into the gaming activity? Clearly, the whole discussion on gaming, we can have it in another day where we can look at gaming and look at it very well. We cannot, and it is wrong for you to consider such people as investing. They are not investing. Because like Mr. Nash said, investment is committing the funds over the long term. And in that long term, you have to compensate it for the time, the inflation, and the risk involved in the venture. Go and place the bet. What is the time period? Is it the 90 minutes? Is it the 30 minutes or the 1 hour? No, that cannot be said to be investment. What is the risk involved in that particular act? The risk is almost 100% because you can get or not get. Then what is the inflationary effect within that act? All these three members are not available in gambling or in betting. So it cannot be said to be what? An investment. It is just an attempt to dissuade people to go into thinking that it's an investment, but it is rather gaming. And we need to understand that gaming is very, 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 very addictive. I get it. Gaming is very addictive. And gaming, in terms of the value chain, gaming does not carry a lot of people along in terms of the value creation activity. When he spoke about a bank, when I go and buy a bank product, they will do analysis on my deposit and they'll give it out as a loan. The man who has come for the loan will go and work with it, employ people, create the value, and they come and pay. Ask yourself, when you go and place your 20 CDs in the bet, what value are you creating? Are you getting me? Now, the last thing I would like to say before I like to end here is that whoever wins the bet, what is he celebrating? He's celebrating the losses of other people.
Yes.
So the question is that, are you saying that your winning should come at a loss of other people? That is not the proper channel to wealth creation.
Yes.
In wealth creation, every individual in the chain should benefit. It shouldn't be you alone benefiting while others have lost. That is a wrong message when it comes to wealth creation. And I believe that you have to be aware that in creating wealth, it's about carrying everybody along so that you all share in the wealth than you alone when all of us have lost, because it is our money that is packed together and given to you as a winner. I don't think any one of us here would like to have that means of wealth creation. It brings greediness, it brings pain and jealousy. And you don't want that to happen. Thank you.
Okay, so to that, I think one important thing about investment is that you are guaranteed of a return.
Okay.
There's always a guaranteed return. But with game or betting, there's no guarantee. You can lose all your money today,
Okay.
you can gain some tomorrow.
No.
But with the investment, once you sign the documents, you know, actually, before you start, the bank will inform you that for this period, you're getting this. At this period, you're getting this rate. So there's a guarantee, but with that one. So I don't see it as an investment. It's not an investment.
Yeah, so it's an investment. When they invest in the team, you are guaranteed. So once you invest in TBO, like you said, you are definitely guaranteed your principal and then what you are going to get in terms of the interest. But then when you go into the stocks and then the bonds, that is where sometimes the outcome is not guaranteed. But like you rightly said, if you invest in a short-term instrument, you are definitely guaranteed. As for gaming, we are not even investing in the first place, so we should equate gaming to investment. Let's just refer to it as well, betting as gaming.
Okay.
Yeah, we are better that way than to even create the misconception that they are not investors. They are just betting or they are in the game. It's just like lottery. You cannot call those who plays or go to lottery as investors. They are not. Yeah, thank you.
So I guess the online bettors, you have to change your names now. No more investments. All right. Okay. So how do I tell that someone is a financial literate? What are the skills I'm to look out for? And then how do I measure if someone is a financial?
Okay, so the basic that we use in measuring financial literacy is the individual is able to comprehend simple compound interest. You know, Mr. Entry was saying that when we invest, we pay some interest. He mentioned that the rate is what 3. Yeah, I mean, do you understand it? And how does it influence your decision to invest? If you go or save, in this case, if you go and save or even buy a T-bill of, let's say, 1,000, what is the effect of the rate on it? Simple interest. Do you also understand? You also use compound interest. Do you also understand compound interest? Are you getting me? And what is your attitude towards risk? And then simple budgeting. Do you budget? If your answer to all this is no, 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 then it means that clearly you don't understand the basics in managing finance. And that will definitely impact on your ability to manage your resources. Then Mr. Nash will tell you that some people come to the bank and they don't even care about the rates they are even getting or being taxed to pay. But if you understand, you ask what rate and why that particular rate. These are individuals who have knowledge and understanding in financial literacy. So your ability to understand simple compound interest, the effect of inflation, risk, and to some extent, some simple issues about how the stock market operates, a financial product, can be used to determine whether you are financially literate or not.
Okay. So for a student, how important is financial literacy?
Thank you very much. I believe as a student, financial literacy has a greater portion in your life because as a student, if you are financially literate, you'll get to know that you need to plan for your future. You need to have savings. You should need to have investment. You need to also have a plan for your retirement. If you get to know all these, you plan for your future. If you start working, you know that you need to apportion your money. Because if you are unable to start as a student, it makes it very difficult in the future. People tend to think that when they start working, they will start investing, they will start putting money aside for their future and all that. But that's not the case. If you start small, I believe as you grow up, you'll be able to do more and also plan ahead. For instance, as a student, assuming you want to further your education, you want to do your master's after university, what if your parents don't have money at that moment? If you start saving now towards that, if there are unforeseen circumstances of that sort, you could use that and then further your education, and it will actually help you in the near future because we know that day in, day out, price of things are increasing. What if at that moment you are unable to go to school and then the school fees, everything has increased? It would actually affect you. So I believe as a student, you need to be financially literate. Thank you.
Yeah, I totally second that. I think but when I was in school, I was actually into some businesses. However, I really didn't manage the finances well. So I remember saying to myself, when I start service, I know the money is small, but I'll save something. And I started the service and the transportation and everything was hitting me so hard and I never saved. So it was a hell of an event for me. Sorry. So I totally agree with what you're saying. Now, just a follow-up, for an entrepreneur like me, right? I knew there was financial literacy. I knew a little about saving, where to put my money here and there. But there was always that difficulty as a student. You are buying this tomorrow, maybe not personal stuff, but you're buying certain books, certain materials to help your education and all. So it's a bit difficult for students sometimes to really save, especially for those who are not fully dependent on their parents or guardians for financial support. So in your own experience, what are some of the difficulties that students face, the specific ones that they are unable to do? Is it the budgeting aspects, the saving? What exactly?
Okay. I think the most difficult aspect is the budgeting. That is what I have observed because it's kind of difficult to have in mind day in, day out as you spend. You need to note it down. Students actually find it very difficult to do that. And I believe this is because they are on campus, they feel they are independent, and they find it so difficult because they normally tend to purchase goods, they purchase things that are not actually needed at that moment. Yes, they do more impulse buying, they even overspend and end up spending their school fees and all that.
Yes.
And it actually affects them so well because I know my friends, they give them their school, them a monthly allowance. Instead of apportioning, they spend everything, and then the latter part of the month they are really struggling. So I believe budgeting is one thing that students are facing a challenge with regards to financial literacy. Thank you.
Okay, so just a nice break. I remember back in school, one guy couldn't pay his fees. Only for us to find out he used the fees to sponsor his girlfriend's birthday. Yeah, it was a brouhaha on campus and all. Yes.
That is poor budgeting, you know.
Yes.
I believe that the girlfriend's birthday didn't just happen all of a sudden. Probably was aware. Are you getting me? So if he even had the needed skills in terms of budgeting, he could have seen it coming ahead of time. Then he would have planned and then maybe probably save some money towards it than to just, wait and then there's no money and to go and then use his school fees. Again, it is about priorities. The question is, why on earth will you use your school fees, sacrifice your school fees? For a girlfriend's birthday, it's about goals. Are you getting me? So we need to know our goals. We need to know our aspirations. Today she's your girlfriend. Tomorrow she may not be.
She's actually not anymore.
Yeah, so you can even imagine. Yeah. So he has lost it. Are you getting me? It's a double loss. So clearly, if we can understand our goals, and these are goals can be translated into financial goals, that will help us to know what is important and what is not important. Then we can manage our resources. In addition to the budgeting, goals is a very critical area that I think students will also have to think about. If not, they're going to take decisions that will come back to hurt them and hurt them big time. Thank you.
Just to add to that, I think the basics of financial literacy is knowing your expenditure and your income.
Okay.
There is no way you should spend more than you earn.
Okay.
It doesn't happen anywhere. Only the Ghana government can do that. Because even that one, we know we are going to get money from borrow. But for me, what I've seen on campus, I've been on campus for the past 5 years.
Okay.
And then I've seen students come in and I see the way they spend. And I fear for the future because almost every student I see is now using an iPhone, even when they are not working. And I'm wondering, how do you raise the money to buy iPhone? Because they're expensive. And even the people I know who are working, most people are using the Samsungs and then the lower end phones. So it's a fear for me because if you are not earning and you can spend this much, when you start earning, what are you going to do? You're going to spend more than this. So know your income. I get 50 cedis every month. You should spend less than that. There was this article I was reading, and it says to be wealthy in future, you should spend 50% of your income on necessities, 30 on savings, and 20 on your wants. So 20% should be the one that you go to buy the new phones and those things. If you can't afford it, you don't do it.
Yeah.
And if you can live by that 50, 30, 20, save 30%, use 50% on your needs, and then 20% on your wants, you'll be okay. I think if we can stick to that, we'll be very, very fine.
I actually think you are seeing that trend because now there are several sources of income, not the original ones we know, but many other sources that perhaps I wouldn't mention, but you can imagine.
But those ones are windfalls. So why don't you rather get the windfalls and save the windfall for future? Because an iPhone today, I'll tell you a story about my life. When I was in school, University of Ghana, I used to travel. That time we used to call it anywhere. We go to London, go and do a few things, get some money, and come back. And those times, I really like gadgets. So I used to buy the Walkmans a lot. So I got my first Walkman. It was a cassette. I don't know if you know cassette. It was a cassette player. I got it for like £150 that time. Wow. I was feeling good. I came down. The following year, I went to London again. There was a better one, a Dixman, £200. And I got it again. The third year, I went to London again. There was a mini disc player, and I got it. I was like, every year, these guys are bringing something, and it's taking my money. So go to a point and look, it's not worth it. I don't need this anymore, so I have to stop. So I stopped following gadgets, and then I started to realize that, look, these monies I put down, it's rather giving me interest and getting me some value. Because if you follow this gadgets, a few years ago it was iPhone 6, now there's 15, and trust me, next year there'll be 7. Exactly, and the price keeps changing. So we need to start thinking that, okay, these are short-term wants; they are not really necessary, and it's peer pressure which is making us buy because maybe my friend has it. You don't know what his parents do; they can afford it for him, but we're not coming from that side. So cut the peer pressure. The little money you have, try to always live within that means and less, so that you can have enough money to save and then to invest.
Okay. And then we tend to see more of this attitude. Personally, I've observed the ladies, we do that the more. So I would ask you, Doc, do you see any gender disparities when it comes to financial literacy?
Yeah, they exist. If you look at the structure of our society has been structured in such a way that it's even not Ghana, globally, that is the male species or the male speech that goes out to work. So normally in our structure or in our society, you see the male gender going out to work. They are more economically empowered. And then we tend to leave the females behind to take care of house chores, children, etc., etc. Once you have that structure, clearly it means that attention goes on to the males. They get education, they get work, and they have access to money. Because of that, they do a lot of thinking when it comes to money and how to use money. The female just receives and then spends. You might think that that is okay, but that is not okay in the sense that, you see, if you look at how we also live in terms of longevity, the male tend to die early than the female. So if the males have education, they have access to economic empowerment. They have children with the females. They don't teach the females some of these life skills, and then they transition. What happens to the families that they leave behind? Are you getting me?
Yes.
So, yes, they are working, but we are saying that empower the male and empower the female. Teach them the basics of finance so that even if the man is busy and is not available, because they have the basics, budgeting, savings, investment, they'll be well positioned to take care of the resources. A housewife who has no personal financial knowledge will just be wasting money at home. But if she's knowledgeable, whatever you give her, she'll try to manage. And that indirectly increases household income. So yes, it exists that the males, because of the structure we have in our society, are more highly educated. They have better jobs. They have access to money. They learn the act of making use of money. And we leave the females behind. And it comes back to hunters. We need to dedicate resources into female empowerment. And in this particular case, female financial literacy education.
Great, wonderful. So, to you, Mr. Nash, most of the time we tend to meet a lot of bankers, especially those in the sales aspect, inviting you to open an account here and there, but they don't do more than that, right? Once the account is opened, that's it. So I understand everything you said so far about banks now trying to educate their clients and all that, but just to be clear, do banks really prefer financial literates to financial illiterates? Because I feel like I've actually, on campus, I opened about 5 different accounts. I don't know where they are. I have no idea, nothing. Nobody took another step to educate me on any other thing to do. That was it. It just ended there.
All right. I understand where you're coming from and understand what the banks are doing. We are in competition with about almost 30 other banks. So definitely there's a rush to get people in. When a bank salesperson sees you outside, he hasn't got enough time to really educate you. All he wants you to do is he wants to pull you in first. Once you get in, then you have to find the time. Come to the banking hall. We have relationship officers, you have customer service officers, and we have the investment advisors there. So you come into the banking hall and then sit down with them. You can schedule an appointment, sit down with them, and let them understand what you need or what you want, and then they can help advise you on how to go about it. But on the streets, they can do that because they don't have that much time. But banks are doing it now. I think for a few banks I know, they have the investment centers, they have asset management centers where you can go there and tell them your income, what you want, and what you plan to do in future. I'm saving towards my pension. I'm saving towards my children's education. There are a lot of products there which can help you do that.
Okay, so I feel like marketing has actually transitioned. It has actually changed over time, right? Compared to first, where the banks know that everybody will come. Now you actually have to come to us. So I get your point that, after opening the account, you have to walk into a place and all that. But what about the mere market woman who doesn't have this education? You don't expect her to actually go all the way to the bank. Most of them believe they should even keep their money in some holes and other things in the house because they have certain perceptions about banks and saving institutions and all that. So personally, I believe that the banks should take a step to do more.
Actually, we do. Earlier on, I told you that we do seminars and workshops for some of our clients. With the market women, we normally go there and set up and invite them we teach them how to manage their books, how to do a simple trial balances and all that. We teach them. To those ones, we do them. Your question, I try to answer your question on campus, because normally we open an account when we don't even call it October Rush anymore. Because this time it used to be October Rush. When the Laboranders come in. So there are lots of people on campus at a very short time. We have to open accounts. That's where we don't spend that much time with them. But for other customers, we do. We normally go there. Salary workers, we go to the offices, sit down with them, tell them about our products, because we have a lot of products, and advise them on which ones they need to invest in. But it all starts from you. You have to know what you want first. Then I can advise you based on what you want. Do go this way or this way or this way. But I can't come in. What I can do is just tell you the products we have. But I can't push you to do anything. You have to tell me what you want, and I can advise you on how to go about it. You also asked a question about do bankers prefer financial literates or financial literates? Actually, prefer financial literates.
Wow.
Yes, we do financial literates. It's easier to talk to them. They understand where you're coming from. It's easier to sell products to them, and for them, it's easier to buy. They also buy products from us. The illiterates will just put the money there, and then the next they come for everything. You can't even plan with it.
Especially when they hear there's something going on in the bank.
I remember there was this when Men's Gold issue came. When Men's Gold came, I was in my office, and a well-educated lady came to the office that she wanted to withdraw about a lot of money from my account. Oh, a lot of money. Yeah. Over 2 million Ghana cedis from my account. Wow. I was like, no. So she's taking to Men's Gold. I was like, no. Before you invest in anything, you have to understand what the money is going to be used for and how the people are going to get the money to pay you back. I spoke and said, no, I should move the money. So I told, okay, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to move half of the money. And then in 3 months' time, when you get your returns and you bring it back, they move the other half. It was a long hassle, and she understood me. Move the money. 2 months' time, Men's Gold went down. She lost half of the money. If I didn't advise her that way, I'd have lost everything. So now she comes to me. I try to advise her. Now half of the money is in a trust account for her children, because she doesn't touch it. So with bankers, we can only advise on what you want to do, but we can't push you to do it. Yes, but we prefer financial literates than financial literates.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so clearly what Mr. Nash, in addition to what Mr. Nash has said, clearly for the financial literate customer, they are likely to be financially included because they understand what the banks are doing. They know the benefits that they will get if they should save, plan, and then to also budget. Such individuals, you have it very easy to roll them onto bank products or to be included in the financial services sector than those who are unfortunately not illiterate, not literate in matters relating to personal finance. You have to talk, and in the end, they don't even show interest. So as a country, if we are thinking about getting a critical mass of the population to be included financially, then we need to consider financial literacy. If we can all contribute directly or indirectly to educate the masses on matters relating to personal finance, a lot of them will walk straight into the banks and they start opening an account. And even if they are keeping even 50 Ghana cedis, it's a lot of money that behind the scenes, businesses and government can borrow to undertake big and huge projects. So financial literacy is very, very important.
So on that note, what can Ghana do or policymakers do to actually improve financial literacy in the country?
Yeah, so the policymakers we are talking about Ministry of Finance, Bank of Ghana, National Insurance Commission, National Pension Regulatory Authority, Securities and Exchange Commission. These are the major players when it comes to the regulatory aspect. It's about education. The regulators are doing a lot, but there's still more that they can do. The policymakers, Ministry of Finance is doing a lot, but there's still more that they can do. But the good news is that recently, National Curriculum Assessment, NACA, has introduced financial literacy content in the school curriculum. So at the JSS level and the SS level, social studies, there are some elements on some of the things we are talking about in the school curriculum. So our generation was not fortunate, but the generation that is coming after us in the next 5 years, even if they don't sit in a business school class, they will have had discussions on savings, on investment, on pension, on insurance. And once you have the knowledge, you are aware it will cause a behavioral change. So clearly, on that score, we'll say that the educational side has seen some changes. They have to do more. Now, the banks will also have to support. They have to make sure that a portion of their earnings is pushed into financial literacy. Why? Because in all these discussions that we've had, the banks stand the most to gain in these discussions, or the financial institutions, not only the banks, the insurance, the pensions, the investment funds, the investment houses, they stand the most to gain. So they also should see this as an area that they need to invest. They shouldn't just leave it to the government. They should also see it as an area that they need to push some funds. They have marketing budgets there. Within the marketing budget, they can put a small percentage into what? Financial literacy. And once we have that, they are going to have a large pool of funds available that they can work with.
Yes. Wonderful. So we are wrapping up. But before that, what do you think students can do to actually improve their current state of financial literacy?
Thank you. Okay, so I believe most students should go online, get materials on financial literacy, read, and then get to understand what financial literacy entails. And also, I believe on campus here, some of our courses we do investment fundamentals like this. It's actually a course that talks more about financial literacy. You get to know about savings, investments. I believe students who take this course very serious would be able to gain more knowledge in that field too. Yes. And also we should also talk to our peers and then spread the good news about financial literacy. I believe that will also help. Thank you.
Okay. Any final words to clients and others?
Okay, since I'm on campus, majority of them will be my clients will be students. So my advice would be that as students, don't have a savings account with a Visa card on it, ATM card on it. Don't. Okay. Once you have the Visa card or link to the account Momo, you're sitting somewhere and something nice passes by, you will fall to. So have an account especially for savings where you won't have access to it, like the traditional savings, where you have to walk to the bank to do transactions on it. That's one of the advice I give, because we need money, and weekend you are sitting home, your friends are buying pizza, you feel like buying pizza, you have the money there, you'll definitely be forced to buy it. But if you don't have access to that money, you won't do it, and the money will save. That's one. And two, this will be a life lesson. Sometimes I learned the hard way. I remember when we were on campus, we were sitting at timeout. This was some years ago. Timeout. Our student loan came in, and we went to withdraw the money, and then we bought a check at. You know what check is?
Yes.
Okay. And this man, an elderly man, came to visit his nephew on campus, but the nephew was in a lecture, so we came to sit at timeout. And the man saw us talking and drinking beer with our money. So it's like, yes, I'm land at this place.
Okay.
That was selling. It will take us 3 students' loan to buy the land, for a plot of land. We should buy it. I'm like, no, as students, what are you going to use land for? So that's what we're talking about. If you had bought it, it would just take us a year and a half to pay for it. And the man was prepared to even take our student loan anytime we come. And trust, most of it, we didn't need the student loan. It was just extra money for us because our parents were paying almost everything for us. We didn't need the money. And we didn't buy it. Now look at us.
Oh.
So if you had bought it at that time, we would have. And another thing that we also realized was, as human beings, we don't have time. Every day passes as interest you can gain on your investments. The right time for saving is now. Actually, it's yesterday, but the second best time is now. You need to start now. You don't trust me. You don't think you are too young to start savings. You don't. I still see myself. I work on campus and I finished campus 20 years ago, and I still feel like yesterday. If I start saving at that time, I wouldn't be working where I am now. I'll be like some millionaire and enjoy myself. So start saving now. Have a savings account which hasn't got any link to any of the channels that you can spend money on, so that the money can be saved. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah. Finally, I'd like to say that the university should also come on board and then introduce financial literacy as a university-wide course. So when you come to level 100, it's a course you can subscribe to. So I'll be giving some of these lifelong skills. It's very important because, like Radley said, you made some mistakes simply because you didn't have some knowledge. If you had benefited from such a program, I believe that your decision making will have been better than what you did. And that will have improved your financial well-being. So university should consider introducing financial literacy as university-wide course. And I believe that the financial institution will also support such an initiative from the university.
Okay. Wise words indeed. Today's session has been very, very fruitful. I've learned a lot, especially now I can tell my friends who claim they are online investors that please, there's nothing about investment here, right? And then, yes, I'll just advise us all to go online, walk into your nearest banks, wherever you bank, and have a discussion on financial literacy with them. And thank you very much for being on our show today. It was wonderful. We hope to have you next time discussing better things also, just like today. Yes. And so this is all for today's episode. Until the next time we meet, stay financially safe and savvy, and then keep that piggy bank well fed.